There's like spray paint on the grass.
If you want to get a sense of how many lives are touched by street violence in Boston, take a look. Each one of these teenagers has lost someone.
Sometimes I'm scared to come outside because I think about what happened to my friend recently.
17-year-old Tyleek Curry wears a button with the image of that friend. 16-year-old Jonathan DeSantos murdered while riding his bike.
I don't want violence on the streets no more because I don't want somebody else to go through the same thing I'm going through.
Tyleek and his friend Darren Brown come from neighborhoods where it's often easier to join a gang than avoid one. But listen to what they want to do.
We want to be the friends that take our friends out of the streets.
They are learning, along with dozens of other teens, how to be leaders.
We're going to tell our family, friends.
Foot soldiers in a battle against violence led by Mona Lisa Smith.
We have to get each community member, each mother, each youth to begin to say that I am more than, than what is around me.
A Dorchester native, Mona Lisa sees community organizing as not so much a choice, but her destiny. She had built a career 3 decades as a bank executive when 5 years ago her 18-year-old nephew Eric was murdered.
When you lose someone, it's to senseless violence. It does something to your family. It's like there's this missing seat at the table all the time. And I had to make a decision. Was I going to, have his life end on that pavement that night? Or was I going to be able to move him forward and make a difference, in the midst of that tragedy?
She left banking and began Mothers for Justice and Equality. Many of the mothers she has organized have lost children. All offer support, but this group is about changing the status quo.
This is a strategic plan to end violence in a way that has never been done before. And people will ask, well, how do you plan to do that, right? How can you take up a cause of ending violence when violence has been with us for so long? Because we are going to go to the root causes of the violence.
And that includes coming someplace you might think women who have lost someone to violence might want to avoid: prison. But Mona Lisa and her fellow mothers are regulars here at the South Bay House of Correction.
We talked about the personal financial statement in terms of how it fits into our goals.
This is a financial literacy class, but Mona Lisa says it's also a lesson in values, in helping inmates figure out what matters most, how to make a life when they're released.
So when they come back, they're humanized, and they have this interaction with Mothers for Justice and Equality, and they come back to us not just feeling that they're connected with a human being, but also understanding how life happens for me outside of those walls.
She calls the prison work intervention youth work prevention, and she calls on mothers to take charge.
Go in the room, search the room for the gun, search for whatever you need to look for, and don't feel like you're invading their privacy. They don't have any privacy. It's your house, right?
What do you do? What do you tell the mothers to do? Say they find a gun in their kid's room. Then what?
Call the police, right? Call the police. Don't be afraid, to seek help for your child.
Like any experienced executive, Mona Lisa has a vision to end violence. Mothers and their children, she says, will make it happen. Stephanie Leiden, WGBH News.